Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video we're going to be having a little look at our slurry tanker. So you might remember back, it's about 6-7 weeks ago, we washed our tanker down. It was all cleaned up. It was going to wait to get some modifications done to it. Hopefully it was going to get painted at the time and come back like a gleaming new pin. Well, it's had the modifications done to it. It hasn't been painted. It's still pretty much in the same shape it was in when it left, in need of just a coat of paint just to freshen it up. But there's a reason why we couldn't do that. We needed a tanker. There's something else was supposed to happen in between times. That didn't happen, so we needed the tanker back. It'll become more apparent later in the year, but we'll talk about that whenever the thing that was supposed to happen does happen. But yeah, tanker anyway. When we got its modifications done to it, we actually had it back. We were using it last week. We were putting out the slurry on our tillage ground. I was drawn to the umbilical system when it was being spread, and it went away then last week to get the last of the modifications done to it. A lot of you guessed in the comments box what we got done to it, and anyone who did guess we were getting a low emission system onto the back of the tanker guessed 100% right, and that's what we done. We got a lovely, neat Mbe Dribble bar system fitted onto the tanker. So we're going to have a little look over the actual system itself. Low emission slurry is something that we really wanted to get onto. The price of fertilizer now and the rules that's coming in now that are going to govern the spreading of slurry, it's something we want to move across to a dribble bar system, and to really make the most out of spreading slurry and getting the most of the nitrogen content in the slurry. And yeah, we'll have a whole look at the system now and go through what we like about it. Okay, so alright, so dribble bar system. It's made by Mbe. Who is Mbe? Mbe is Moore Brothers Engineering. They are based just outside Whitecross in County Armagh, so not that far from me. It's only about 20, not even 20 minutes in the tractor takes me down. If you remember back to when we were doing the 3650, the hitch on the 3650, we put a new Sauserman hitch on it. It's the 6000 series hitch. So it's a new style Johndeere hitch that went on the 50 series tractor. They done all the engineering work on it, done an absolutely fantastic job. Looks like it come out of the factory. It's that good of a job. And I showed it at the time. They've actually fitted a few more of those hitches on 50 series tractors for people who've seen it on the channel. So yeah, they do a little bit of that kind of work, but that's not their main job. This is what they specialise in. Bespoke dribble bar systems, bespoke trail and shoe systems, and yeah, they are a super job. So their system is, you can see, chassis mounted. So one of the things when the tanker went away to get its modifications done to it, the first time they fitted on all the chassis plates, whatever brackets was needed to hold the dribble bar system on. They put them all in place. The tanker came back, and as I say, we used it for a little bit, and when it was ready, then when the dribble bar was ready for mounting on, we just dropped it back down and they popped it on for us. So the dribble bar system itself, it's a 9-meter system, and I wanted to go for a 9-meter system. A lot of the dribble bars you see are 7.5 meters, which is okay. But the downside I seen with that was that air tanker, its spread pattern would have been taken more than 7 meters or 7.5 meters. And there's a couple of issues if you go smaller that I would see. One of them is that some of our ground it can be wet at certain times of the year. Some of it is hilly. So if you have a smaller or taking a smaller spread pattern, that means you're driving closer together all the time, which means you're going to have more runs through the wet areas, you're going to have more runs over the hilly ground, and that's going to be causing you issues. The other downside to that too is if you're wanting to put out 2,000 gallons per acre, you're going to have to drive in a higher gear with a 7 meter or 7.5 meter system, or drive at a higher speed than if you have a 9-meter system. You're going to be driving, you're taking that slightly wider width, and you're able to travel slightly slower. So In hilly ground, if you have a full tanker, sometimes you're not always able to travel at maybe 7 kilometers an hour, or you know, if you want to, depends what rate you're putting it out at, so you could be slowed down a little bit. So I just seen issues with having the narrow dribble bow, that having I think having the wider one would be a much better job. They are slightly more expensive because, as you'll see, there is a fold in it, and yeah, there's an extra ram in it and a little bit more work to get it all to work in, but we'll see it folding out now in a second. The other thing that is really good with these systems, that's 9 meters and having the fold in it, is the height. It's not even up as high as the tanker, so they're really neat and compact behind the tanker, and there's less likely then for you to catch it in, say, low-lying trees, or you know, if you're driving on laneways or on the road, maybe if there's low-lying trees or branches, it's less likely to catch or to do any harm. So before we fold it down, we'll just have a look at a few of the wee features on the Mbe dribble bow. Firstly, we'll look at this clamp system that they have for holding on the pipes. So your pipes come from your macerator. They're all put into position, and they sweep round and into this little clamp. So the pipe itself, you see, comes down about an inch and a half, the bottom side of the clamp. Your plastic dribble pipe, then the yellow pipe, the flexible hose, it then comes up and it pushes through on the top side of it. So you can see the way they're all in on the top side, and then you just basically tighten up. There's like 2 10 bolts that runs right through. That's all tightened, and it clamps it all together and leaves it really secure. So really good job. Some of the other dribble bows that I've seen have pipes just welded on the outside. Your green pipe, or well, they all come in different colours, it's then, that comes from the macerator, it's pushed onto it. Sometimes it's held on with a Jubilee clip, and a lot of times that can fail and cause you issues. So yeah, this is a really good idea. I like the way that is done. The actual frame of it is built very strong, all galvanised of course, but most of them are, but yeah, it's all built strong, it's all strengthened where it needs to be strengthened, and yeah, it's built strong without going overboard and having a massive big frame on the back of the tanker. Another thing that I like is the fact that it's chassis mounted, so the weight of the dribble bow is in very close to the tanker. You can see how nice and neat and close that it is. The plus side of that is that you haven't got a lot of weight hanging out on the back of the tanker. Some of the door mounted systems has all the weight, then it's hanging on the back door, and you can it can leave the tanker a little bit unbalanced. Driving down the road, you end up that the drawbar of the tanker can be moving up and down and slapping around a little bit when it's not full. So yeah, that's one of the other things that I like about this system. Yeah, macerator, it's an Allarina macerator. They are one of the only macerators that can run dry, that you don't need to have slurry in it, so that's a big plus, and they're very good macerator. They give very little trouble. Yeah, bit of modifications then to be done here on the back of it. Obviously the fill points had to be moved. This is where they were originally, so we had to they had to be moved then out onto the back of the tanker. So you can see the way it's just split there. You have your 2 fill points either side, and your splash plate then, if you ever wanted to continue to splash or any issues like that. If you wanted to, sometimes if you had really heavy or lumpy slurry, maybe you might have to still use a splash plate, but I don't intend to have to use it too often. The other thing that's really neat is the connection then here. You can see there's a lollipop here for feeding up to the macerator itself. The pipe is in there, then it feeds up to it and goes on to a bend in there, so you can hardly even see it. Some of them, you can see them, the big pipe coming up out over the outside of it, and it's a big awkward ugly setup. This is lovely and neat and in there tidy as well. So again, another really nice feature on it. Stone trap is here. We wouldn't have much stones, but I suppose sometimes you can have a foreign object, so a stone can get into it. It's easy enough, just click it open, and it allows the stones all gather up here. You might have to empty it maybe once or twice a year or something like that, but I don't see that as being a big issue either. Yeah, so that's fairly simple and straightforward. If you ever do want to move from splashing or to splashing from feeding the macerator, is quick release coupling in here, so you just click it off, put it on here, and instead of opening the lollipop into the macerator, it opens the lollipop here for the splash plate. So yeah, again, that's fairly standard, I think, in a lot of these dribble bar systems. Okay, well, I suppose now we'll fold her out and I'll show you it folding out. Alright, so all folded out. You see it all folds out very nicely. There's a breakaway built into the actual ram system here, so basically just so you catch it in a paling post. See the way it's pulling back, and it comes back into it folds back on itself. To get it back into position, you basically just fold the dribble bar, or go to fold the dribble bar up. Actually all you have to do is to fold back in this outer piece and then flick it back open again, and that's it. It just resets back into the working position. So you can see as I pushed it back, it's now back as if you've just hit a foreign object in the field. But yeah, fairly simple. All greasing points on everything that moves, so you can see them all here. So basically probably have to grease it every few times that you use it, and yeah, very, very simple. The lights, you'll see here, there was a couple of little brackets had to be made just to step the lights out a little bit, because one, they were well, one, you couldn't see them was one reason, and the other reason was then they were back in where this was where it would fold up into position anyway, so just kind of stepped them back and out, and that sorted that out. But yeah, very, very simple. There's a couple of breather pipes had to be put in for the macerator, so they're coming to here. Sometimes you might have a little bit of fluid or water could leak out down through them, so they're run to there. LED lights fitted onto it as well, and there's a little hose here that you just can connect to, like a garden hose, or you can connect water to it and it'll go in and it can wash out the macerator. You might have to do that maybe once a year, a couple times a year as well, but yeah, nothing major. Alright, so just inside on the controls, there's this little electrical control box which comes with the dribble bow. Basically the way it works is you can put up to 5 switches on it, 2 on it at the minute. Only one of them is being used at the minute. Second one is going to be for work lights, so we're going to put work lights on it whenever we do the refob on the tanker. Basically when number 1 is turned off, lever number 1 works the folding in and out of the dribble bar. When you flick it to number 1 being turned on, you can see the little light that comes on it. It then basically works the lollipop and lets the slurry out to, well, it depends where it's connected to, but works the lollipop either to let the slurry into the macerator for the dribble bar, or if you've connected to the lollipop for the splash plate, it works that. So yeah, fairly simple. As I say, there is another connection out here for work lights, and we will be adding some work lights to it down the road. But you could also, if you want to put another one on it, like for flash and beacon or for other things, you can do all that. So yeah, it's just another little thing that is part of it. The other thing that we got done when it was down with the Moore brothers was we got a sight tube fitted onto the tanker as well. So yeah, that's a really nice addition to have on the tanker. We've up until now only been using the little sight glass here on it, so you only knew whether the slurry was either above or below that. You didn't know anything in between. Yeah, yeah, so that'll be a really nice feature to have on it. The fact that the tanker was going away to get painted meant that to be able to get that fitted on now was a nice little bonus. So yeah, the tanker will be going away to get its refob later in the year. We will be sending it to get sprayed and sorted out, and as I mentioned, we'll be putting walk lights on it. We'll put an LED, maybe an LED flashing beacon on it as well, and we put some LED lights here in the boxes on the back, just to kind of bring her up into the 2020s, if you like. And yeah, it'll just finish her off nicely, especially now that it's got the dribble bar on. It's a great tanker. We've had it now since what, 2010 or something. It owes us nothing. Spending a few quid in it to get it painted and getting it all freshened up will be worth it, because there's a lot of work left in this tanker, and yeah, we intend to be using it for a long time to come still. That's really it. That's kind of where we are with the tanker at the minute. Really looking forward to getting using this over the next few days. Ground is dry here, but fields aren't dry. We had a lot of rain over the weekend, and that has meant that ground conditions just a little sticky, so we're going to give it showing dry all week. There might actually be a bit of rain this evening, but I think it's dry the rest of the week, so maybe on Thursday we might get going with some of the slurry and start to get some of it out. And yeah, it'll be really nice to get using this, get trying it out, and yeah, I'll take you along when we're doing it. I'm going to make some footage of it, and I'll have a video up hopefully around the weekend of it all, walking and everything, let you know how we're getting on with it, and I'll have some footage of it, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is it. I will put a link in the description below to the Moore Brothers. Yeah, you'll see it, as I say, the weekend. If you're in the market for one of these, you definitely consider them, and I'll put a link, as I say, to, I think it's the Facebook page that I have for them. If not, if you want a phone number for them, you can contact me directly. Either you contact me on either Facebook, Instagram, or whatever social medias you follow me on or you can find me on, and what I'll do is I'll give you the phone number and name and all that, and you can call them up yourself and have a chat to them, and yeah, see where you're going, and tell them what you want. They'll price you up for it, and yeah, they won't be too happy to sort you out. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Until the weekend, we get this baby out and get her in action. Take care, have a good week, and we'll see you all then.